Hi guys, today we are making my super fluffy, soft, amazing, easy dinner rolls. When I started the blog, I used to bake a lot of breads and put all those recipes on the blog. So there are a bunch of sandwich loaves and dinner rolls. These fluffy white dinner rolls recipe is from way back when, and I hadn't made these in a while. So I made these, made a video, updated the pictures on the post, as well as added tips and make ahead instructions so that you can make these easily. This is a foolproof recipe. I have a bunch of tips along the way in this recipe, and if you hit all of those checkpoints, then these dinner rolls are going to be super fluffy and amazing. They use just a few everyday ingredients. A couple of tips before you start making this recipe is to make sure that your yeast is active. If your yeast is old, it will not do its job. That means the dough and the rolls are not going to rise and they won't get as fluffy. The other tip is to be patient. You have to let these rolls rise. If you don't give the dough and the rolls enough rising time, there isn't enough aeration going on and they won't be as fluffy. This recipe uses easy everyday ingredients like white flour or bread flour, some yeast, baking powder, salt, vegan butter, extra virgin olive oil, and some vegan yogurt. If you don't have vegan yogurt, you can also use some non-dairy cream or coconut cream or a little bit of vegan sour cream or just non-dairy milk. The combination of extra virgin olive oil and vegan butter instead of using all oil or all butter gives these rolls a nice flavor profile. We also use baking powder in this recipe to help the yeast by adding a little bit more leavening to the rolls, making them taller and fluffier. The yogurt helps the dough to hold in that extra moisture so that they stay soft and moist and fluffy. We also brush the rolls with some vegan butter or oil and top them with sesame seeds. You can top with other seeds of choice or not top them at all. This is the base recipe, and you can build up by making some herb dinner rolls, some garlic parmesan dinner rolls, or a sweeter version of the dinner rolls. So let's make these easy dinner rolls. We first begin by activating the yeast by combining the yeast with warm water and sugar and mixing it and setting it aside. You don't want the water to be too hot, and you also don't want it to be too cold. Let that yeast mixture sit for about 5 to 10 minutes until it gets frothy. If the yeast mixture is not getting frothy, that means the yeast is either dead or it's really old and it won't do its job really well. That means you need to get some fresh yeast and activate it again. In a bowl, mix 3 cups of flour, salt and baking powder and mix really well. Then transfer all of this flour mixture to your yeast mixture. Then add in your room temperature vegan yogurt, your melted vegan butter, extra virgin olive oil. Mix with a spatula until all of the ingredients are combined. This dough is going to be pretty sticky, so now you want to start adding some extra flour, 2 tablespoons at a time, until the dough starts to come together and is not too sticky. We don't want to make a really stiff dough, but we also don't want it to be too sticky. Keep using the spatula or your hands to mix the flour in and folding the dough over. Press it and then fold again, and repeat this for up to 5 minutes to make a smooth dough. If you're using a stand mixer or a food processor, add the yeast mixture, the flour mixture to the stand mixer. Then add in the butter, extra virgin olive oil and yogurt, and start your stand mixer or food processor. Now keep adding the flour 1 or 2 tablespoons at a time until you get a smooth dough. Once you have a smooth dough, transfer it to a bowl, brush a little bit of oil on top, cover it with a kitchen towel, and let it sit for an hour, hour and a half until it has doubled in size. Now depending on the ambient temperature, this can also take up to 2 hours if it is really cold in your kitchen. I heat up the oven to the minimum temperature and then switch it off, and then put this bowl in the oven so that it rises nicely within the hour. Once it has risen to double its size, punch the dough lightly and take it out of the bowl and onto your counter. Add a little bit of flour and work the dough again lightly to bring it together and smoothen it out. Then shape it into somewhat like a log. And using a pizza cutter or a large knife, cut it into equal portions. You can choose the size of the dinner rolls as well as the pan size based on your preference. You can make smaller dinner rolls and put them in a larger pan. You can make bigger dinner rolls and put them in a smaller pan. Line whichever pan you're using with parchment. Then take each cut portion of the dough and roll it out into a smooth ball. You can just roll that dough using your hands, or you can pull from the opposite sides and tuck under. Do that from both the sides and repeat that 2 to 3 times until you have a smooth top. Then place these dinner rolls tucked side down in your parchment lined baking pan and repeat for the remaining dough. You want to keep the dough about half an inch away from each other because you want these rolls to rise and touch each other. That way they'll rise more and get taller. If you want individual dinner rolls that are not sticking to each other, keep them an inch or more away from each other. Once you have all the dinner rolls in your baking dish, brush with some extra virgin olive oil or melted vegan butter, cover with a towel and let them sit for 35 to 50 minutes or until they are almost double in size. In the meanwhile, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Once these dinner rolls have risen to your preference, brush or spray a little water on top and top with some sesame seeds or any other seeds you want to top with, and put them to bake for 20 to 22 minutes. Check at the 20-minute mark if they're already golden. Check the center dinner roll by tapping it. If it sounds hollow, that means the dinner rolls are done. If not, let them bake for another 2 to 4 minutes until they're nicely golden and the center dinner roll sounds hollow. Then remove them from the oven, let them sit for 5 minutes or so, brush a little bit of melted vegan butter if you like, and then serve immediately. They're warm, fluffy, moist, and amazingly delicious as is with some vegan butter, or as a side with your spread, or with soups, curries, or however you want to serve them. I mean, look at how soft and moist they are. They've been sitting out for about half an hour and they're still so soft and moist, and they smell amazing. This is an easy and amazing base recipe, so do try it. You can make lots of variations of these dinner rolls. For some garlic parmesan dinner rolls, add some garlic powder and some herbs of choice into the dough. Then make this garlic butter with some vegan butter, minced garlic, and some fresh herbs of choice, and brush that over the rolls when they come out of the oven and are still hot. Those are going to be so delicious. You can add some cheese on top of these rolls before baking. You can make them sweeter by reducing the salt, omitting the sesame seed, and adding some dried fruit and more sugar to the rolls. I also have several other breads, burger buns, and dinner rolls on the blog. If you don't want to use all-purpose flour, you can make my 100% whole wheat sandwich bread, or you can make my 100% whole grain spelt dinner rolls. There's also my white sandwich bread that makes amazing sandwiches that you can try. I also have gluten-free versions if you want to try those. I have some gluten-free garlic dinner rolls that make a great side. And I have a lentil bread, which is a dense and delicious bread, but it makes great sandwiches and it's gluten-free and can be made grain-free. I also have flatbreads and naan breads. I have my regular naan bread and my almond flour naan, which is a gluten-free and grain-free naan bread. That is a great side with an Indian dinner or any dinner. Let me know if you try any of these recipes. If you try these soft dinner rolls, do let me know in the comments how you like them and how you serve them. Also, let me know if you made any variations. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.